Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Ladd, Paul Bassett and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity Podcast, episode number 179. He says, looking at his bit of paper, because he's got to remember that properly. Now, if you're listening to us, wherever you're listening to us, please leave a 5-star review for us. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, because we're trying to grow our YouTube following. And we have an amazing guest for you today. But before we get to her, we shall introduce the usual host, or the usual person who introduces this thing, and he does it more than me, and there's a reason for that. Hello, James. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. And I will also say that if you are one of our dedicated listeners and you are listening on the day of release, it is the 2nd of February, I believe. So I'm currently in France.
All right, okay.
Snowboarding.
Oh, look at you.
I know.
I haven't got your glasses on. I thought you'd have your, is it the Vipers or whatever they are?
No, we're going to do that. If we have Tartan Warrior, Mac McLaren on next week, because he's sponsored by Pit Viper, isn't he?
Yes.
Going to try and get him to come on with his Pit Viper glasses, and I'll have mine on as well next week.
Well, I don't own a pair because I think I look like a tool in them, but apparently...
You look great in them because you put them on, didn't you, when we were down with Mac? And but you look really good.
It's one of these things, there's people who wear like vest tops and all that, and and they walk around and they look great. There's nothing wrong with those, and Pit Vipers and all that. If I put them on, I feel like I'm an idiot. So therefore I walk around thinking I look like an idiot. Therefore it's like, it's one of those mindset things, isn't it? If you think that, you're going to feel like that, and then it just makes, so I'd rather just walk around with a massive beard and a beanie.
I think with your beard and your beanie, with a pair of Pit Vipers, I'm going to keep mentioning Pit Viper. You never know, we might get sponsored by them, especially when we have Mac on next week. Anyway, I'm fantastic, thank you. Yeah, really, really good. Looking forward to this. Like we just said before we started recording, I first met Ellie, I think close to 10 years ago now. So it's going to be really good. But like many of the guests that we have on, I don't really know a lot about her. We're obviously connected on social media, but it's always nice to spend, 45 minutes to an hour just talking to someone and getting to know them. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. So as James alluded to there, our guest today is Ellie Crawley. How are you doing, Ellie?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for the lovely introductions as well.
That's okay. I haven't even started yet. I'm about to go into it now. So Ellie is based in Bristol. Like James said, he met her about 10 years ago. And I probably met you about 7 or 8 years ago at various certifications and stuff like that, and a few times over the years. But you're based in Bristol, just up the road from me. And you've got a studio in Clifton, and you've got your own clothing line as well, which called Feel Fit, and the studio's Feel Fit as well, right? I think so. And a clothesline in activewear and loads of other stuff that we spoke about before we started recording. Honestly, it's amazing how much you've done, how much you are doing. So, as I said before we started recording, the first question is just kind of generally, where does it all begin? Because I know you used to work in corporate and then you gave that up. So it's a great story because it's kind of given up the security of everything that you had around you to go out on your own. So, where do you want to begin?
Well, I suppose the first thing would be to say that I used to hate fitness and exercise when I was a kid. And now I own a clothing brand, gyms, and I'm helping others find that love that I found for it. So I haven't always been into fitness, which is something people are quite sort of like shocked at when I say that. In fact, when I was younger, I used to avoid exercise at all costs in school. Didn't want to do it. I'm sure there's plenty of us out there that's the same. But yeah, I think if you'd have said to me when I was 16, this is what you're going to be doing when you grow older, I probably would have laughed you out of the park. But I wouldn't change it for the world because I absolutely love it. And like you said, I used to work in the corporate world, and I wish I'd made the jump a lot sooner from that being secure to what we are now. I mean, it's not secure, but obviously that financial security and all the luxuries that you get with a paid job. But yeah, so Personal training. So I suppose I've been training like weightlifting, that kind of thing for about 20 years now. And then personal training or coaching for 10. I absolutely love it. I love helping other people feel confident inside and outside of the gym. I love what it gives them. My journey as a coach has changed dramatically from like my different values and views over the years. And then I finally kind of reached like my sweet or my happy point and what was working for me. And that was around the sustainability and longevity piece. So helping people find that fun, helping people find what works for them in their lifestyle. It's not about quick fixes. It's not about transformations. It's about, doing the things that you love so that we can continue to get stronger and live a longer life and be able to wipe your own arse at 90, which is one of my favorite sayings. I mean,
we're all going to find out, aren't we?
So in terms of Ellie, I was just going to ask you a question. You're training yourself. In terms of what you're doing now, I see you kind of have check-ins with a coach or something at the moment. I mean, I just see from social media and things. So I mean, well, obviously I want to know about, your the studio, the clothing line, the retreats, all of that sort of thing. But where you're at the moment with your and I think this is interesting and important for everyone to know as well, that where you start your kind of, to use a cliche, where you start your fitness journey is not necessarily where you're going to finish it, and you're going to kind of find different ways along the way and different routes and meet different people and be inspired by different things. But where are you at the moment with your training, and kind of how did you get there?
So I'm currently training for a bodybuilding competition, and I will be doing that this year. So it's all booked in, which is all very exciting. It's something that I've looked at and wanted to do, and in fact actually prepped for in the past, but not actually got on stage for about 10 years now. And it was, I suppose there just wasn't ever the right time. Like for me, weight training is what I've always loved. Like whether it's kettlebells, barbells, whatever it is, that strength element for me is what makes my fitness love tick, I suppose. I'm not a cardio lover. I'm not about running. I just can't. I've tried. I ran a half marathon. I tried. But yeah, over the years, like it's always been, I've always come back to that like weight training side of it, the strength element to it. I've done powerlifting competitions. We've done the kettlebell certifications or strong first certifications. I mean, there's all the strength side of things. And for me, the bodybuilding side of things is always I've looked at and wanted to do. And for a number of different reasons, never actually got there. But I feel like I'm in the right place now mentally, physically. I'm the strongest I've been, the fittest I've probably been at 40. So yeah, I was like, right, 2024 is going to be about me. I've spent years building the businesses and giving my energy and focusing on other people. And I can still do that, but actually I'm now worthy of my own time, which is a whole mindset shift. Because I think sometimes as a coach, we give everything to everybody else and we forget about our own goals and our own bits that we want to do.
It's funny because you mentioned your age there, but I think it's also when you get to a certain point in life, you go, right, what about me? That's where.
What about me?
It used to be called a midlife crisis, didn't it? But it's not anymore. But it's like, no, but I know because I've done it, right? I got made redundant when I was like, well, it was 10 years when I was 37. So, and then after I was like, well, what do I do now? What do I do? Do I go and get another job, or do I like find out what life's all about? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that sort of ages where I think people look and go, right, well, what next? Because I've done everything up till now. What happens in this, like the second half of my life, or the middle third of your life, if we're talking longevity, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting this because you said you've obviously done like this strength training certifications and stuff like that, which is obviously slightly different to the powerlifting, which is different to bodybuilding, but obviously like it all kind of comes from a similar thing, right? So when you say you hated exercise, because I was exactly the same in school, avoiding everything, trying to write like my dad would, learn his handwriting. And Peter can't do this today because of whatever, signed my dad, and all that sort of stuff. So where did you start? When like obviously there must have been, well, something must have said to you within you, like, right, I need to get fitter, stronger, or did you just do what I did and I just said, right, I'm just going to start running, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And where did
So for me, it was just about joining a gym. And at that point, I suppose it's those old cliches, isn't it? There wasn't that many women in the weights area like 20 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like it was that whole, you should be doing cardio or aerobics or classes or whatever. And I was like, I just don't like it. It's just not me. I was like, so I'm going to go and try that bit out. I'll go and see what those machines are or what those weights are about. And that was it really. Just kind of taught myself, went in. I'm definitely not one of these people who was ever intimidated or thought I can't do that. I'm going to give it a try. I'm one of these people. I'm like, take the risk, try it, worry about it after, that kind of thing. And I found that, using weights was far more enjoyable and gave me far more than standing on a treadmill or cross trainer. So, and that's kind of where it began. And it just kind of, it went on from there then, from different certifications, finding out, educating myself, like why should we be doing certain moves, or what's the benefit of it, what should I be eating, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was more around the educational piece, and I think that's what I enjoy most about coaching, is helping other people understand that. So I still think there's a big lack of education around why we should be doing certain moves or activities or what foods we should be eating, etc.
I think I was just thinking we should probably we should start a campaign to rebrand the midlife crisis.
Yes,
like a midlife epiphany or a midlife awakening or something like that.
absolutely.
Awakening is great, because
Yeah.
I think that's where people. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was my. That
It's
was
true though,
that
isn't
was-
it?
Mm.
You
So-
get to a certain age and you just go, actually, yeah, I'm all right with where I am now, but I want to get better at me.
So what, Ellie, is it that you've competed in powerlifting, you've always been around strength, and now at kind of 40, you say you nearly did it a while back.
Yeah.
But what is it that speaks to you or appeals to you about bodybuilding? Because it's something that we had. It was only a couple of weeks ago, we had Fabio Zonin on, who's done a few bodybuilding shows, and we spoke to Matt Shaw a while back, who did like a body transfer, basically got in sort of stage ready kind of shape. And we've had a few people, but we don't really speak to a lot of people who have that as a goal and get on stage and prep and go into bodybuilding. What is it at this stage of your life that speaks to you about that, and what appeals to you about it?
I think it's the discipline and the routine, and seeing, for me, it scares the shit out of me. Not gonna lie, sorry if I'm swearing on your podcast, but it absolutely scares the crap out of me. Like the stepping on stage, like wearing a bikini, I'm fine with. Like who I am and what I am in my own body, I'm fine with. But the actual getting on stage and doing something like that scares the hell out of me. And I think all your dreams or goals should be scary. And if they're not scary, they're not big enough. That's what I've always sort of said. I feel like it's, like I said, the discipline piece. Like, can I commit to that and the time and put that amount of effort and like I said, time into me and what I want to achieve? How far can I push my body?
We were talking about this in a group that I'm part of, and there's a part of your brain called the mid cingulate cortex, I think it's called, and this thing can atrophy or hypertrophy, right? It can shrink or grow, and it's the part of your brain that it grows when you do uncomfortable things. So, and there's a book, the Michael Easter book, The Comfort Crisis. I don't know if anyone's read that, but it's a very good book. And that's just basically how everything in life has just become comfortable. You know, we're sitting in air-conditioned houses or climate controlled places, and we're sitting in cars to go to work and all that sort of stuff. We all know about that, right? But yeah, this the thing about doing something, not something that like paralyzes you with fear, but something that just is uncomfortable every single day. You know, like even just going out and having conversations with random people, which is what I'm doing at the minute, because I've got another book which is about that, and how things come from that. So this is the thing, when you said it scares the crap out of you, you can obviously train to get in that shape. Yeah. Because you said you've done it before. So is it just the getting up and showing it in front of people and saying, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also like the whole, I am 40, like it's that older age of, do you know what I mean, getting on stage. Most people doing it are in their 20s. Do you know what I mean? Can it still be done? I'm a woman. Do you know what I mean? All these other things that are like, well, you shouldn't be doing that. And do you know what I mean? Like there's all these cliches around it, isn't there? And I'm like, I run multiple businesses. I'm in my 40s. Can I still do it? Can I make that? Yeah. Can I make people realize that actually age is just a number? It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. You can still make time if it's something that you actually want to do.
There's another book I'm reading, and I can't remember the name of it. It was a guy who was on a podcast, and I bought the book, and it's about being stuck. It's something about breaking through. I'm reading it right now, and I can't remember the title of it. I'll put it in the notes, I think. But it's funny you should mention the age as well, because basically, if the age has got a 9 in it, so if you're at the end of a decade or the beginning, like the beginning of the next decade sort of thing, that's when most people start to either decide to do half marathons or bodybuilding competitions or get in shape or whatever. Everyone has an existential crisis. So like 19, 29, 39, 49, 59. Honestly, so it happens every 10 years for people. It's so in the stats for it, there was like halfway through the 8 year into the 9 year, that's when people start to ramp up. The 9 year is the thing, and then it tails off a little bit after that when you hit the decade. So that's really interesting that you should say that, because you've said like, right, I'm going to do it now because. So I just find these sorts of things fascinating, because when you have these conversations, you read in these books and you're like, is that true? And then they show up in conversations like this, random, which is why I do this podcast as well, because it's random conversations. So that is perfect.
I just just remembered there, Pete. We obviously have had Chris Saremba on twice, haven't we? And
yes.
he does. It's more like fitness bodybuilding shows. You know, it's
the easy one.
No, they're not. No, but it's more like, you know, where they wear like the board shorts. And
Yeah.
But he's like in his late 60s now, isn't he? And he's just been he goes out to like Miami and Florida and stuff, and competes out on the beach, and he didn't even start training till he was 50. And he goes and does all that. So we have spoken to a few people. No, that's really interesting. So in terms of what I also love, so you have a coach, I presume, who's helping you through bodybuilding. So are they helping you with the training, the nutrition, the prep, the posing, a bit of everything, or something very specific?
No, so that's everything. So I've had a couple of different coaches, but my current coach, Carly, she does incredible in the industry. She's been in the industry for a very long time and done multiple different categories as well. So her knowledge is great. But I check in with her weekly. So she does my nutrition training, posing, mindset piece as well. So yeah, she's great. I don't think I'd be able to do it without a coach. It's the accountability piece. It's easy, isn't it? I mean, I'm in build phase at the moment. I've got another 12 weeks of being able to eat cake and biscuits. But if you don't have that accountability, like still, I'm still like, I eat all the food that she gives me, but I'm like, oh yeah, I can have those Percy pigs, or I can have that chocolate bar.
That must be brilliant. It's like, I'm going to get into bodybuilding. I'll get myself a coach, and she's like, I'll handle your nutrition for you. Eat whatever you like.
So, what was I going to ask there? Because the other thing you mentioned, you've got a date for the show that you're going to do. So, what is the date of the show?
Oh, that would be telling.
Or can you give us a month?
I can give you the month. I can give you the month. It's August.
August. So, okay. Yeah. So we're recording this kind of mid-January, aren't we? Yeah. So August. Okay. Brilliant. So yeah, we'll have to certainly check in with you there. But that's the other thing that we spoke about recently with who was it? Was it, I can't remember, it's Fabio or Sean Cairns, or it might have even been Alison Young, who said, all of them have talked about it, but the importance of having, like you say, a goal that kind of scares you, a competition, and a date, you know, something with an end date that's in the diary. So you turn up, you know, that's what you're working towards. Yeah.
I think that's a really...
Carry on.
Sorry, Ellie, go on.
I was going to say, I think that's a really important thing, because like, you have lots of people, don't you, as a coach, who come to you, just want to get fit and healthy and blah, blah, blah. And actually, if you haven't got some form of deadline, it doesn't necessarily have to be a competition as such, but it's like actually like having that end goal, you can see the progress, you can know what you're working towards. And I've been working for this for a year. So I started originally like this time last year with a different coach. And I've been through multiple different phases. And it wasn't really until I actually booked my ticket, my register, like actually paid for the registration, did I go, okay, got a deadline. Okay, let's do this. And got really excited about it, because I was like, okay, it's actually happening now, because I've got a deadline, I've got a date. And it just kind of spurs you on a bit more, I think. So
I suppose we can almost tie into, sorry, Pete, we could tie in this to maybe talking about your studio a little bit, because it's the same thing, isn't it? When you sign that lease, and until that point, it's just in your head, isn't it? And then, you sign that lease and you commit and you maybe pay your deposit and you pay some insurance and, you sign up, for everything. And suddenly it becomes very, very real. And up until that point, you've just been talking about it. So, which order do you want to approach all of these things that you do? I mean, is the studio kind of like the first, if we go sort of like what's it called, like sequentially, kind of
so I suppose
chronologically,
the coaching was first, and then it was the clothing. So I launched the activewear in January 2020, so just before lockdown. 6 to 8 months prior to that, I'd done a load of research, found my manufacturers, and if I'm honest, when I first did it, it was just after I'd made that jump from being in a full-time paid position and running my PT business alongside that job to going full-time self-employed on my business. And I was like, right, what else can I build? Like, I want to build a brand. I want to be able to help more people. I want people to recognize what we're doing, the sustainability element of it, having fun, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, what about like merch or something? As you do you know what I mean? Like, to advertise the brand. And then the more I delved into it and like went down the sustainable route, I realized that actually sustainable activewear wasn't that big when I first started looking at it. There certainly wasn't that many people around. Go on.
I'm wielding the acronym hammer.
Yeah.
Which just for explanation, what do you mean by sustainable activewear? I may be being stupid, but I'm sure other people are wondering as well.
So all of our activewear is made from recycled material. So it's all made from recycled plastics, spent fishing nets, nylon waste, recycled PET bottles. So all of the material is sustainable. It's also ethically sourced and manufactured. The company who makes it uses 70% less water than government recommendations. There's loads of different things. So when I looked down the sustainable activewear route, the material side of things, or businesses, there wasn't loads around. And if they were, then they were really expensive. You're talking like 120 quid a pair of leggings, etc., which was just like, well, that's not going to be. So that's why I chose the material and the way I kind of went, because it followed suit with the values that I held as a coach. So a sustainable coach, sustainable activewear. I'd never really planned to make it as big as it is. It wasn't, I mean, it was just like, okay, this is cool. Let's try this. Didn't have a clue about setting up my own fashion brand, but we're doing extremely well. So launched in the January 2020. It was probably a really good time for me because it was lockdown. So what were people spending their money on? Activewear, because they were living in their living rooms. Do you know what I mean? Like, the amount of pictures I got of people like in their leggings with their suit and blazer over the top because they were on Zoom meetings was hilarious. Do you know what I mean? But at that point, it was all from my living room. So I think, Pete, you mentioned it earlier, and that's what kind of made you reach out to me. Like, I literally started that clothing brand in my living room, in my hallway. I've got pictures of like IKEA shelving with like all of my activewear kind of stacked in these drawers and all labeled, and I'd pick the item, send it out, and do the whole process. And I still do part of that. At one point during lockdown, I launched a second collection. So I moved all the furniture out of my living room, did a photo shoot, so put the camera on a tripod, set my living room up because I had like big white walls. So put the activewear on myself, set the camera up on the tripod, put the timer on, jumped into frame. Oh no, it's out of focus. Do that one again. Spent like days doing it. Had like lights on and everything. Borrowed them from somebody who had kit that I could borrow. And that's how I launched my second collection. And then
those. Right. Firstly, in answer to James's question, presumably everything you're talking about sustainable activewear is on the website.
Yeah.
You're right. Which is
FeelFit, myfeelfit.com.
Excellent. So it's all on there. So go there to check it out. But so all of those, the photographs of you, like, it was you around, because I started noticing them in like during lockdown, obviously, when it was happening. There was all these photographs of you all over Bristol doing all the poses and standing next to things and looking all, kind of like model
active.
Was that
semi-fit?
Was that all professionally done? I thought you had hired a photographer to follow you around. Like,
so some were and some were me.
Okay, because honestly, I thought I was like, bloody hell, at least hired someone to follow her around and just take photographs. It was amazing.
Yeah. So some were with photographers, some were my own. But yeah.
Wow. That is
So you started coaching. So initially, before you had the studio, you were coaching. Was it in-person coaching, but you were
Yeah.
using another gym or a studio? Was
Yeah.
it outside, or what were you
So
doing?
it was in a couple of different gyms, actually, commercial gyms for my sins. Not that they're that bad, some are. But yeah, so a couple of different commercial gyms, running different classes, etc. And then obviously we went into lockdown, pivoted everything online. So coaching went online, as we all did, outside when we could obviously meet people outside, etc. And then when it kind of everything, the talks of like things were lifting, first of all, I went on holiday. Second of all, I was like, I can't go back to the commercial gyms, because I was like, well, how can I go back to working for somebody else in somebody else's premise when I've just built this business all on my own from my living room? So I was like, right, I'll find myself a studio. Started looking for a studio, and at first it was just a studio for me, maybe a bit of activewear at the front. Do you know what I mean? Nothing too big, just somewhere where I could work out of. And the estate agent showed me where I currently am after viewing a few other properties, and I was just like, I walked in there and I went, okay, I'll take this, and worried about it later, basically. I was like, is this gonna work? But you know, when you walk into somewhere and you're like, yep, I can see it, I can feel it. I walked through the door and I was like, I can see me in here with my business and it working. So yeah, and that was 3 years ago, last December. So 3 years, yeah, December 2020, I picked up the keys. So we're just about to hit our 3rd birthday and into the 4th year of business there. And the activewear is actually 4 years old the end of this month, because obviously that came first. And the studio, I brought Sam, who I think you both know, Sam Murray. She came in with me when I first opened, as a coach, and then Paige, who's still with me now, brought those two in as we opened, sort of like the April, May, when all those lockdowns were lifting. That was a thing that we lived through, hey. And yeah, I've now got a team of 5 or 6 of us in there. And again, with the studio, it was very much it's not going to feel like a gym. I wanted it to feel like a safe space. I didn't want it to feel like a commercial place. I wanted to help people, again, find that fun, keeping it real. It's not about, like I said, transformations, quick fixes, etc. So therefore the sustainable element came into it as well. So we're an eco-powered fitness studio. So all the brands we work with are sustainable. The bikes in our studios, we have spin bikes. 74% of the energy that's generated from the workout goes back into the local grid and offsets against our electric. So it's eco-powered. So that was kind of like the icing on top of the cake for me. Obviously, we've got our sustainable activewear and other sustainable brands in there. So yeah, that's kind of like the cycle of it.
Yeah, the studio, does it? I mean, I've not been there myself, but it looks like a shop front. It looks like a kind of, so, and have you got you've got the kind of the clothing and stuff at the front, have you?
So the clothing so the clothing is at the front, and then we've got a big, long kind of like open space, gym floor area, I suppose, where we hold all our classes. We only have up to 10 to 12 people in a class, so it's all still a small group. Then around the corner, we've got a weights area, squat racks, dumbbells, kettlebells, so it's all free weights. And then downstairs, we've got a second studio in the basement, which has the spin bikes and then doubles up as another kind of like functional space downstairs.
Because from the front, it could almost be like a like you say, like a feel fit active wear clothing, like boutique almost, you know, really, really nice, isn't it? Kind of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From the photos, it looks lovely. If you walk past, you can just hear pure chaos and music blaring out.
Is that a bit of a hook then? Like, do people walk past and go, oh, look, a clothes shop, I'll go in and have a look. And then once they're in, you can kind of go, oh, by the way, have you seen this?
Yeah, so it works both ways. So people come in and go, oh, you do classes here. Tell me more about that. Or obviously people come in for the class and they go, oh, you've got activewear. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's buy some leggings. So it's like it's a two-prong attack.
Yeah, excellent. And in terms of, so, and maybe we'll move into like the retreats and stuff now, if that's okay. Just I'm conscious of time. I know we kind of got a bit of a sort of a soft stop on the time. But yeah, sort of retreats, where did that come in? So we had coaching kind of out of commercial spaces, then moving into the activewear, then getting your studio while that built and the activewear built. So where did retreats come in?
So retreats came in our second year of business. Is that right? later that year. Can't remember exactly. So I used to, like, the industry that I used to work in was the drinks trade. I also used to run events. Prior to me setting these businesses up, I used to have an events business when I lived over in Spain. So I lived over there for a while. Used to run pubs, clubs, and different kind of tours and events, etc. Parties, basically. And yeah, used to work in obviously the drinks trade. So I kind of wanted to bring, like, I love that fun element side of things. Do you know what I mean? Kind of wanted to bring that and my new lifestyle together. I was like, what? How can I do that? And it was to run retreats. So our retreats are slightly different. We call ourselves the anti-retreat. They're very much about we go and we get up, we do mobility and mindset in the morning, we have a training session, we do whatever during the day, and then we'll have pizza and wine at the end of the day. So it's very much about that wholesome, like, wellness balance piece. So we're not about juices and, I mean, really, really strict boot camps or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was more about helping people to disconnect, to reconnect with themselves, to reset their mind. I mean, like, yeah, we do quite a lot around, like, resilience training, all that kind of piece, like the mindset stuff, rather than it being, yeah, you're going to lose 12 pounds in a weekend and, I don't know, die on juice.
It sounds to me like it's a proper holiday.
It's a holiday. It's me having fun with a whole load of people.
Yeah, because when you call it retreats, sound, I mean, like, okay, there's nothing wrong with it and all that.
No.
Joking, but it's like, it sounds like penance. It sounds like self-flagellation. You're going to go away and we're going to treat you really horribly for a week, and then you're going to go home and have hated it all.
Yeah. And I think also with ours, like, there's a lot of people. So certainly we've obviously just come back from Bali. So that was the last one we did last year, which was, I couldn't have asked for it to go any better. We had a lovely group of like 9 people, and a lot of them have never traveled on their own, let alone traveled that far. Some of them did stuff that they've never dreamt of doing before. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's taking people out of those comfort zones again, like you do with training, right? So whoever expects that they're going to lift 100 kilos in a deadlift, you push people out of those comfort zones. And it's the same with the retreats, like getting in the sea. So when we first did the very first one in Croyd, like, we had 2 ladies who had never stepped foot in the sea before, but yet by the end of the weekend they were in wetsuits and they were jumping in the waves and having a whale of a time. Like, it's just pushing people past those everyday kind of barriers that they get. Like I said, and also they don't really do anything on the retreat, so we look after them. We are a host. We like cook, clean, do breakfast, make coffees. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people don't have that because we're all so busy looking after everybody else, whether it's family, friends. Do you know what I mean? There's always something to do. And actually we remove all of those daily jobs, all of those daily chores. They just come and completely switch off. And we look after them.
In my head, that is a retreat. Is like, it's about you and we're going to look after you, and you get a week off or 2 weeks or however long it is, and you get to
do nothing or do something that you've never done before but wanted to do before.
Yeah, but you might understand this as well, because, like, for me, when I was at work, I like, with what I did, it was like during the financial crisis, it just became toxic, and I had 5 years of not wanting to do it, and in those 5 years, I didn't have time to think about what else I wanted to do. That was the problem. So I suppose it gives people like just space away from family and friends and all of that sort of stuff to just say, right, what do I actually, you can think about stuff, and not saying what do you actually want to do, but like, it might just give you time to just reevaluate everything.
Absolutely. So reevaluate, like, the comments that we get when people go away, they were like, oh my God, I've taken so much from this. Like, people who like literally just slowing down. Like, sit down and read a book with a cup of tea. Like, I know that sounds simple to some people, and some people do that because that's what they love doing. But actually, like, some people don't get that opportunity because we work, we look after kids, we've got, I don't know, elderly people we look after, walking the dogs. Like, there's all these things. It's all this busy chaos that goes on, and actually just being able to switch off from that, and have somebody else tell you that you don't have to lift a finger, or, do you know what I mean? Like, plan your day for you as well. Some people have never done that. They've gone away on holiday and they have to plan everything. You have to take everything because you're taking all the kids and the family and everything. But to actually just rock up, and do you know what? Some people are really uncomfortable with that. So, like, not knowing what their schedule is or not knowing what they were doing. And they were like, it's a breath of fresh air to go, do you know what? I'm waking up tomorrow morning and I know I'm going to have a great day, but I have no clue what I'm doing because somebody else has sorted out your schedule for you.
Do you find people who would call themselves nurturers? Because sometimes people call themselves nurturers who are just busy people busy people pleasers, aren't they? Do you do you see a big transformation in those guys, or do they go away thinking like, do some people go away thinking like, I don't want to do that again because it was really hard?
Some people go away and think, actually, I am going to carve out more time for myself. I am going to make that time. And when we get about 60% repeat business, and then it's word of mouth. Like we haven't done that much advertising for it. And then some of the retreats, so the Croyd one, I think is nearly fully booked with people that have been coming for years. So I've had to get another house so that we can have more people because it's got so popular, which is great. But the fact that they want to keep coming as well, because it's like, actually, every time I come, I learn something different about myself. And they just give themselves that time and that space.
Croyd's lush as well. If you're talking about
beautiful.
Where is it? I don't know where it is.
Devon, North Devon. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, so Croyd first, then we've got Bali, and this year we've got Cape Town.
Wow.
Yeah. So
we'll have to at the end. Obviously, we'll get Pete when Pete's wrapping up. He'll get all of your best way for people to get in touch with you and find out.
We better start now, I think. There's quite a lot going on.
No. What I was going to say was kind of on that theme. I think probably all of us as coaches, you have people who come to you who maybe are, like you say, they're very senior, either run their own business or management, or even just head of a family, just running kids and stuff. And some people just like to, if they're coming for like an hour's training session, they just want to walk through the door and just think, I don't want to have to think about what I'm doing in this next hour. You tell me, and I can just relinquish control, and you just tell me what to do. I don't want to have to think. I just want to be able to do it. So I think that really speaks to, what you're saying about the kind of retreat, and that, I'm just going to relax and just go with the flow, and you tell me where I need to be and what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I did it the way I have, is because there's so many people, like you say, they come to you because they just don't want to think about anything. They don't want, like you say, they're busy, they've got too much going on, it's that chaos. But switch it off, chill out.
No, that's great. And we do like a snowboard for members, like a ski snowboarding trip every year, and we're off. That's where I am at the moment, actually. Well,
you've transferred your entire studio over.
Yeah, that's right.
Your toys with you and everything, haven't you?
Yeah, but that's great, and I love that. You get people coming away together, and we get like a fully catered chalet, so all your food's done for you. You haven't got to worry about anything, and it's just people just love that. And like what you also said was people traveling on their own.
Yeah.
But then going to a group and spending whether it be a weekend, whether it be a week, whatever it is, with people they might not necessarily know very well as well, is a really big step for people, which is a great, and I bet you could get some really great kind of bonds, don't you, and create some friendships.
So we create like a little WhatsApp group for each one, and they're still all going, they're all still chatting it, and it's like it's great. And like you say, that it's meeting like-minded people that actually have the same values and beliefs as you, but you wouldn't ever have met before, which is the same as the studio. One of the biggest compliments or feedbacks I've had from one of the members is, I never thought I'd be part of a fitness community, and now I am. They all go for lunch together. Like this Sunday, we've got a walk and a roast afterwards. Do you know what I mean? It's that community that people didn't actually think they'd ever be part of, because it's too scary to walk into a commercial gym. In our place, you can't leave without having a conversation or being spoken to, because we all want to know your story. We want to know why you're there. We want to make you feel welcome. Whereas in a commercial gym or some gyms, you walk in, you can do a class, you walk straight back out again and haven't spoken to a single person.
Or you walk in and everyone's just plugged into their own headphones and someone's communicating
to their phones like this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a community piece, right? It's about bringing people together. It's about helping more people and creating safe spaces.
And your second studio, which I don't know how much you how much is can be divulged and how far along you are with it, but how did that come about and what's happening with that?
So that's something that's been in the pipeline. So there is a bigger plan for Feel Fit and where I want to take it. Abroad would be nice. Get rid of the cold weather, but that's in the pipeline. But yeah, the second studio is just because I want to help more people. I feel like there should be more spaces like ours, and it will be with us by the end of this year. That's all I'm going to say for now. So.
Fantastic.
Honestly, it's all amazing. I'm loving it. What I love is you've said it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
You don't do transformations, but you do.
Just
not body transformations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's amazing.
And you're not selling the transformation. Do you know what I mean? You're selling the lifestyle change, the community, the
feeling,
friendship, the feeling. You're selling that, and the transformation happens. Yeah, as a part of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about that feeling, right? So that feeling of strong is very different. So what makes you guys feel strong is maybe different to what, I mean, I know it's probably not because we've trained together, but do you know what I mean? What makes us feel strong as coaches is very different to what other people may feel strong. So it could be skipping, it could be running, it could be yoga, it could, whatever it is, that feeling is unique to the individual. And that's what we try and get across is, yes, okay, we can all come in and train together, but ultimately what makes you tick, what makes you feel strong is individual to you. And that's why there isn't a blueprint.
That's another thing that's really quite unique about this, actually, is, you know, you get things like CrossFit, and then everyone who goes to CrossFit loves doing CrossFit, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then they all get on if you're into that. And then people can join that and then go, actually, this isn't for me. It's a bit intimidating. And then, like you say, go to a commercial gym or go and do jiu-jitsu or go and do it like whatever. But your place sounds like it's basically just for everybody.
Yeah.
Which is really a hard thing to get your head around when you're trying to get people in, because if you're trying to please everyone, you please no one, right? But however, you're not trying to please everyone. You're just trying to give them a place where they can figure out if they can please themselves there or not. So that is
absolutely. And I think they come in and it's one thing, and then like I've got people who've come in and have never lifted a weight before, but they did their first powerlifting competition on the weekend. And it's like, actually, okay, I'm going to give that a go. Oh, actually, I want to run a half marathon. And now they're all running half marathons. And there really is something for everybody there. And it's not a look, shape, size. It's that feeling that's individual to that person. And whether you want to come in and you want to move on to a competition or a race or do you know what I mean, enter something, that's up to you. But you don't have to. We've got people who've been there since the very beginning. In fact, they have actually been some of the first that have walked through the door, and they just love coming. They just want to go for that coffee at the end. And they're feeling stronger, and they're feeling fitter, and they're being able to do things that they've never done before. And that's great. So you've got those people, which makes that community, and then they've got the other people who then inspire other people to move on, and it's just evolves, doesn't it? So
no, it's great. Brilliant. Pete, do you want to do your duties?
Stop joining the conversation, you know.
I just want to make sure we get
You can do it if you want. You're better at it than me.
No,
I forget what to say. No, so yes, right. What we need to know, Ellie, is where we can find you. You're everywhere, but what is the best place for people to find you? Find the clothing brand, find the studio.
We'll start with the clothing brand. So the clothing brand is on Instagram at FeelFit UK, and then the website is myfeelfit.com. The studio is at myfeelfit studio on Instagram. Myself personally is at Ellie Crawley PT.
Blimey.
And then the retreats is feelyouretreats.co.uk or feelyouretreats on Instagram.
Is that feel you the you or you spelled out?
Y-O-U, as in
you, the
word, not the letter.
Sorry. It's difficult to understand.
I mean, there's so many, and it's like the bane of my life. I've got that many. But if you don't have them separately, then the messages get
well, if being successful is the bane of your life, then you're doing all right, aren't you? It's like, I just started this thing up and it exploded into all of this stuff.
It's all of this.
No, but this is great because I'm going to say I love success stories like this, because you've done it. You've done it for the love of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I find really inspiring, and that's why I got in touch, because I just saw what was happening, and you were just like, I'm just having fun.
It is fun.
You seem to be having fun all the time, and not one of these people on Instagram who looks like they're having fun, and then you're at home like, oh God, I'm pulling all your hair out and all that. You just always look like you're having so much fun. And then you showed up in Bali, and I was like, oh, like, honestly, I'm just, so brilliant.
It is, yeah. I mean, it is fun. I love my job, and I think we're amongst few people that can actually say that, right? You're helping people, you love your job. I don't get up in the morning and think, oh my God, I've got to go to work. Do you know what I mean? Like I love what I do, and I love keeping it real. I think if anybody gives us a follow, you'll see that, yeah, we just have fun and we keep everything real as possible.
Well, yeah, because
hopefully you can get that vibe from Instagram.
I think you do, because I saw it on Instagram and it was like, yeah, you were just not taking the piss, but just, just like fitness can be fun. It doesn't have to be all seriousness all the time,
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was fantastic.
Thank you.
James, anything to say to wrap up?
I was just going to say, I've obviously connected with you, Ellie, for a long time, but I've just given Phil Fit UK on Instagram a follow and just having a look. And like you say, I love it. I love the, even the inclusive sizing, award-winning sustainable activewear, just the images that you use, the people that you've got there, the kind of the slogans and the things. It's like you say, it's real. It's for real people, isn't it? It's authentic, So no, I'd really recommend. I was talking to someone earlier, one of my clients actually, and said we had you coming on this afternoon, and I said, oh, and I think she's got her stuff in John Lewis now. And then she said, oh, really? What's the brand called? I said, I don't know. I can't remember. But now we'll be able to. I'll be able to say it's Phil Fit. Yeah. So we've got that, and we'll put all of that. No, it's great. It's been great speaking to you. And like I say, many of these times we do these podcasts, and we have people on that I've kind of paths have crossed, and I've met a few times. But I suppose it's almost similar to what you say. People don't really have much time sometimes when they're so busy all the time to actually make time for themselves and for other people. So that's why Pete and I doing this once a week for about an hour, don't we, Pete? We always, it's an hour well spent, just getting to know people like yourself in more detail and more depth, and then hopefully sharing your story with lots of people out there. And I'm sure Feel Fit is great. That's something that you can, and it says that you ship worldwide as well. So we've got lots of people out in the States and Canada and all over Europe listen. So yeah, hopefully we get some people following and buying, which is great.
Well, and also, if they buy them, they might get them personally delivered by Ellie when she's doing a retreat just down the street.
And delivered, special services. It's been great for the opportunity, guys, and I really appreciate that. And it's been great to reconnect with you both, because as we said, it's been years.
Yeah, no, brilliant. No, so nice to speak to you. That's great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Yeah, thank you, Ellie, and good luck with your competition in August. Whenever in August, but yeah, that's great. So and thank you all for listening. Please give us a like, give us a share, tell your friends, visit Ellie's pages and get yourself some Feel Fit gear, because it's all good stuff, and you'll be saving the planet.
Indeed.
And also please if you're watching on YouTube, give us a subscribe, and that'll really help us get our numbers up with that. And next week I believe we have Mac McLaren, right?
Yeah, Tartan Warrior, world's strongest disabled man from Scotland. Yeah, so he has actually messaged me back. I messaged him just before the week went on air today, didn't I? And he said, "Yeah, no problem." So yeah, Mac McLaren, Tartan Warrior, will be with us next week.
Excellent, and that'll be a fun one. He's a bit of a he's quite a funny man, isn't he? So yeah, we met him in last August in Chard, didn't we? The disabled strongman and woman event. So yeah, so that'll be Mac McLaren next week. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you all, and we shall see you next week. Ta-ra!
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Lant, Paul Bassett, and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com, or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.